But it's something about those street level guys, especially when they get out of their element. You think about Avengers Endgame or Infinity War, whatever. Yes, we were all excited when Doctor Strange was using his magic and whatever and blah blah blah. But you stood up out your seat when you saw Captain America come box Thanos. All right,
that's fair. That is a good ass point. You damn right I did. What's up, everyone?
How is everyone doing today? What day is it? I don't know, actually.
How are you doing today? How are you
doing? Good. I'm doing good, actually. I went to the gym this morning, so I worked out. I hadn't been in a couple of days, so that felt really good. And I'm just relaxing right now. I'm ready to talk some comics.
Let's do it. Let's do it. This has been an interesting week, It
has been.
The X books are starting to ramp up with X of Swords, and that's getting exciting. DC's, we still don't know what's going on, sister.
Yeah, there's some stuff. 3 Jokers is going on right now, actually.
That leaves no room for me.
So I feel like I'm going to read it eventually.
Okay.
I've heard mixed reviews. I've seen some people saying good things about it. I've seen some people saying bad things about it. I think for me, especially when it comes to comic events, as much as I might trash them or I cancel it, it doesn't need to happen. If it happens, I'm a comic book fan at the end of the day. I'm more than likely going to read it. It's just more of a matter of when, especially if it's stuff I'm not particularly interested in. Batman and the Joker, wow. Let's take it back.
Let's give us nothing. Wow, give us nothing.
So it's I'm pretty sure it's a DC event. I mean, it has Red Hood in it. I love the Red Hood. Jason Todd is my everything.
Oh.
He is.
We love him for his angst. We love him for his angst.
He is great. And he's in it. He does some stuff. I did see a spoiler for something that happened. It was apparently very big.
Yikes.
Very. And there were 2, actually. There was the first one, which was kind of yikes, and then there was another one, which was also yikes, that involved Batgirl.
Oh no! I hope that isn't anything that I could speculate. Jeez, haven't they put her through enough?
I won't talk about it just in case there is anyone listening who is reading it and hasn't read the issue just yet. Especially because I don't really, I can't talk about it too much because I'm not reading it, man. But
the only DC book I'm reading right now is Legion of Superheroes, and by only book I mean it's the last book because I'm dropping it. Legion of Superheroes number 9 just came out, and I love sci-fi and superhero stuff, so any kind of mixing of that is so my jam, right? Okay. So Legion of Superheroes has always been kind of a corner of DC that I've been a fan of. The Legion and Green Lantern, that whole space power kind of area is something I really love. But this it's written by Brian Bendis, and it has an assortment of artists, right?
Okay. Oh, so Ryan Sook doesn't do every issue?
No. So these past 2 issues, Legion of Superheroes number 8 and 9, it's been this trial of the Legion. Bendis loves to put the kids on trial for something.
He loves a trial.
So he had a different artist draw each page of the books. And I will give him that. If there's one thing Bendis is going to do, he's going to put an artist on. Okay. I feel like he really does research and stuff and tries to put artists, really give them some recognition. Yeah.
I agree with that. He's really good. And especially when he finds an artist who he works very well with, he takes them everywhere with him.
Yeah. But this is just, so currently in the Legion, nothing is really happening. It's like Bendis can have this thing of where he can give characters these personalities, but then they become a little too tropey sometimes.
Okay.
Where it's very like, everyone can crack the same kind of joke, so everyone's a comedian in the books. And I understand that this current, like, there was a whole rebirth, and this was a part of that rebirth, like it was a whole reboot for the Legion. And I get that you have to give characters like a fresher background or whatever you want to do with that, but like, I feel like those kind of rebooted elements should be told through the story, but not via everyone sitting around recalling memories. So he has everyone, quote unquote, on trial, and everyone is literally standing up and
just telling their side of the story.
Not even telling their side of the story, like just saying where they were from, and then like they're like they say where they're from and like what world and everything they came from, and they give a little background on them, but that's it.
I mean, but that could be a thing with Bendis. A lot of his work, and I say this as a fan of Brian Michael Bendis.
Oh, me too, for sure.
I think Bendis is one of those guys where he is, when he's good, he's great, especially with like teen heroes.
He is,
like,
yeah.
He does some really great young hero stuff. I think a big problem that I've seen. So I was reading Young Justice.
Okay.
Which he
also written
also
by
writing.
him.
Also, he's also writing that, and the first few issues were like really good, and then kind of like you say, nothing was happening, and then the things that were happening were very confusing. And I think it's just an issue with DC as a whole. Their entire timeline is just, I don't even know. I don't think they know. Yeah. And I don't think anyone's tried to figure it out. And, there have been a lot of rumors swirling and articles about how there were always kind of two factions of DC. There was the half that wanted to go with the new rebirth continuity and just like full steam ahead. And then you had the other half that was trying to get like pre-rebirth continuity back because, they had lost a lot of those characters like Wally West and Mia Dearden. Yeah. And so, some of them have come back. Wally has come back. The reception to that has not been...
I mean, I am wow. I mean, the way they are trying to bring him back is,
I am not a Flash fan by any means. I don't really see it for speedsters. I think that power in general is just kind of like, ugh. So they don't really hit my radar. But I know Wally West because I'm a huge fan of Teen Titans. All of it. And so seeing what's being done to him, it's just kind of like, damn. It's just like, who hates this guy?
For real though.
And why do you hate him so much? If it was Barry, sure, I can understand. Barry's awful.
Fair.
But like, what has Wally done to us, other than be the premier Flash for so many people?
I always associate him as the Flash. He was my favorite Flash.
Barry's boring.
I mean,
Barry is like, wow. Talk about a snooze fest. And it's just, so when I see things like that, what Bendis is doing on Young Justice and Legion, it's just kind of like, I feel like they're all just treading water because we don't really know what's happening. No one knows what's happening. They're all just up in the air. And I know DC is supposed to have the new event coming up soon, Endless Winter. I haven't read too much about what it's about, but I know one of the promo pieces had a lot of pre-continuity characters on it, for pre-rebirth continuity characters on it.
Oh wow!
So I think it's supposed to be something about they're bringing the timelines back, or they're merging, or it's a new. I don't know. It's a new reboot. DC loves to reboot.
Is this their Secret Wars? Are they trying to mash the universes together or something? Or
hope. I don't even know. I don't even know if it's a good idea at this point. I think DC. I do think they need a reboot. Just because they have kind of messed everything up so much. But I feel like if they give another reboot, don't do the whole thing that what they always do is they start all the stories over from the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like we see the Justice League forming. We see all these people becoming heroes. We see
we see Wonder Woman leave You know,
The
kind of scary for the
mascara.
first. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like we got it. We have seen it 150 times. Reboot your universe, but put us like 10 years into it or something, and like just go from there so you can still tell us new exciting stories.
Yeah.
Um, and we'll see. You know, they got rid of Didio, which was
They did.
that was a moment.
Yeah.
You know, and
I feel like he was the one that was kind of preventing a lot of the growth that was going on that we would like to see within DC. I
agreed.
had seen it that did he say something about like not liking Nightwing or
He's very anti like sidekick and
yeah.
teen heroes and all of them. He was very much I love Silver Age characters. I think they are the best. I don't want these sidekicks to kind of like take over the roles, and I don't like them, and that's why he kept putting them back, which is weird to me because DC is one thing they do well is sidekicks, and you know, and
Yeah.
growing those characters up to have them form new mantles or take over whoever. That's one thing that I've actually always liked about their company. It doesn't feel as stagnant, you know, especially with the Marvel teams, they kind of get stuck in whatever mode for however long.
Yeah. They
And
never really let them grow too far.
yes,
Unless they find some reason to have, you know, a time travel thing where the future them comes back into the present or something, and even then it's turned into a which one do the fans like more? And that's the one we'll keep around.
exactly. Mm. So I don't know. We'll see. I think right now with DC, it's just Legion, Young Justice, all that stuff. Whatever. It's there.
Yeah, it's there.
Three Jokers. I think
Beautiful book. Legion of Superheroes, by the way.
they do
All of
have
the
some really
artists,
great artists over there.
fantastic. There was this Jennifer Friesen page of the White Witch, which I think is so dope.
She's amazing. Her
She
covers.
is awesome. Yeah. I'd love to see some stuff of her more on the Marvel side. That X-Men Red that she did with the with Jean in the front was my phone background for quite some time.
Believe that. Actually, no, that Storm piece was mine
Yeah.
because
The way
that Storm costume is everything too. So
it really is. That black costume is, I think, is her best.
definitely.
Okay, so next we had on the Marvel side, Shang-Chi, #1.
I liked it.
I did too. I
Um,
thought that I thought that it was a little fast, and I don't know if
mhm.
the writer kind of knew that it was going to be a mini series or not, but it kind of
Mhm.
the pacing of it kind of felt very quick.
Okay. Um,
What'd you think?
I I can see that a little bit. I think I felt it was a decent intro to Shang-Chi. You know, you got a lot about his history, where he is currently. We got really decent action scenes. I enjoyed the art. I think it was very kinetic and moved really well. I think if you're someone who's interested in Shang-Chi, then it's something you should definitely pick up. I feel like if you're not interested in the action type of stories that involve him,
Hmm.
then it might not be your jam. But I just feel like if you have any type of inkling of, oh, this is a character I want to get to know, this is someone who I'd like to know a little bit more about, or just see what they actually do. Because again, Shang-Chi is one of those characters where I think he's typically in like team books or he guest stars in something. So you don't know
Yeah,
too much about his solo stories. It's like, who are his villains? Who does he fight? What's his motivation? And I think this is a great way to kind of get into that.
that really gave that for me because I was not the biggest Shang-Chi fan. You know me, I am when
Mm-hmm.
it comes to like the levels of superheroes, and it's the street
Yeah.
level and then the super powered and then the cosmic. You know, I'm in
Yeah.
that super powered level. You know, I don't really I like it. I like to stay up there. I don't really go down to the street level characters. So I don't know too much about Shang-Chi other than the times that he guest starred in books
Yeah.
or he taught you know, martial arts to Spider-Man or something like that. I've seen the moments where he's done cool things like that, but I don't know too much about his history. So this was cool to see like the whole, you know,
See it all come together.
the five different heads of like this is Magic Clan or whatever. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I like the way that they really mixed the magic and martial arts. And also,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really that big of a magic fan.
And that's where we differ on a lot of things because you know me, I'm an action guy. Like,
Right.
I'm here to fight. Okay. Like, I want to see it. I want to do it. Like, and then, I really like magic stories as well. So
Yeah.
I always feel as though when I can get a really good mix of street level action, a little bit of supernatural magic in there, it just like works for me. So characters like Shang-Chi, Iron Fist, they've always been up there in my books to read and enjoy. Shang-Chi, he hasn't had as many opportunities to say an Iron Fist has. So I was super excited when this one got announced. And it's just because there was a lot of things that I had either forgotten about his history or had maybe glazed over and like, because I haven't reread too much with him in however long. It was a nice refresher. It was definitely great. I think it's a good thing. Pick it up again. If you're interested in Shang-Chi, if you like action, it's all there. I think he's
I
got a
recommend
movie
it for
coming
sure.
out. So
For sure. This is
support
definitely
it.
a promo for that. So
Okay.
and if his movie is anything like this would be dope. So I'm in.
Exactly.
I'm definitely gonna probably read this miniseries and see how it's gonna be.
Agreed.
So I definitely recommend it. The next book that I read was Giant Sized X-Men Tribute. So I mean, that to me is kind of a quick summary. We all know that story.
We have read that story
we have already
times.
been around that story. The X-Men go and save the new X-Men anyway. By new, I mean Storm and
the all new, all different crew.
the all new, all different crew. They come over and save the original 5 from Krakoa and all that.
Shout out to Krakoa.
Shout out to Krakoa.
Okay. Keeping the X-Men
alive and relevant.
Okay. Doing the work.
Because I mean, really, this was the story back then that ushered in
the
new wave of X-Men. Because again,
they were 05 got them canceled.
They did. They did. Jean couldn't save them all. She can't hold them on their back forever. So they had to cancel it. And this story kind of brought it all back. And I think personally, I think I would love to see this as an MCU X-Men movie. I think they should just do this.
Oh.
It's really easy. It's like you get all the character beats. You can move past the original 5, leave them there. And then I would probably obviously make up some changes to that.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say, would you keep the roster the same?
No, I'd switch it up. I'd probably throw Betsy in there.
Yeah,
and take out. I'd probably take out. I don't know, Banshee or something.
You take out Banshee?
Yeah, I mean, you could throw him in as like, just put him on the island already.
Would you keep Thunderbird on the team to still be killed, or would you use a different mutant?
I'd probably end up using a different mutant and keep Thunderbird around.
Okay.
Just to switch some, keep him around. And and just to change the little narrative, I'd also obviously give Polaris her moment,
Oh, so Polaris is also going to be in the movie.
Well, duh, yeah. For sure.
Okay. Is she still going to get beat by Storm?
There was no beating by Storm. There was a collaboration where she, absorbed that lightning and then yeeted Krakoa into space. And then everybody moved on. Happy end of the day. So yeah, I think the tribute was really cool. It was really awesome to see it drawn by these
current artists.
They were all really, really good. I really loved the Jen Bartel. She was the one who did the scene of Polaris throwing Krakoa in space, and she drew it really, really beautifully.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think it was pretty amazing to see a lot of these new artists take on those pages. It's also interesting to me because I love a lot of new artists, but there's something about those original pages that just blow everything out of the water. I don't know if it's just the coloring, the composition, how they do it. Like, I would definitely always take a lot of those original pages over some of the current updated art.
Yeah, I think it's just they really had a way of like setting up a scene and kind of really portraying like the like the levity of it all.
Yeah.
I liked that. I think now though the art is more bold and realistic looking, and I think that's also really, really cool.
Yeah, tons of fantastic artists out right now, for sure.
So it seems as though you read Falcon and Winter Soldier.
It
What is going
did.
on over there?
So
Again, I don't get down over there.
Again, that's true. And so this is what I tell people. I get it. Everyone loves these superpowers. We are reading comic books. It's a visual medium. You want to see all those exciting things. But it's something about those street level guys, especially when they get out of their element. You think about Avengers Endgame or Infinity War or whatever. Yes, we were all excited when Doctor Strange was using his magic and whatever and blah, blah, blah. But you stood up out your seat when you saw Captain America come box Thanos. All right?
That's fair. That is a good ass point.
You
damn right I did.
When you see those street level physical characters coming and just getting down and like, yeah, I'm about to punch Galactus in the face. You gotta
give him a little praise.
And so
they're at least out there.
They're out there and they're not scared. And hey, I respect that. You gotta love them. So Falcon and Winter Soldier is going on right now. This book came out in lieu of the show, which got delayed, of course. And it's basically a team up of Bucky and Sam, and they are being tracked down by some young killer guy. He's actually already beat them once in the first or second issue it was. And now they're like tracking him down to go and find him to find out who he's working for. And they're also trying to find the new Hydra Supreme.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun, like little action street level stuff. Again, that's my jam. That's who I am. I like this issue a lot. They both actually put back on their Captain America outfits.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, which was just like really nice to see. Falcon Cap is one of the best things that's ever happened in the entire world. If you have not picked
go
up
off,
run, okay, like I'm just being real here. Like Remender, he did that when he made Sam Cap, and then Nick Spencer came and continued the story, which is honestly some of the best stuff I've ever read. I think he did a great job at grounding Sam and, putting the politics in him being Cap, this Black Captain America, how he was received by the people, how he reacted, how he went to continue to try and help marginalized people. He also, got his own Falcon sidekick, and he got a new Patriot. That was a different run, though. It's not as great, so that was when he went back to being Falcon, though. So it's like we can skip that. And it's just a really good book. I don't honestly think the writer has the greatest grasp of the character voices.
Who's writing this?
It is Andy Lanning.
Okay.
And it's cool. It's fine. Again, it feels like a show it feels like a book for the show. Like something they had to put out to promo Bucky, Bucky hasn't been absent. Sam has been absent from the books for quite a while. And Bucky's been popping up here and there, like he popped up in the Black Widow book. He had the little mini-series with Hawkeye where they were teaming up for a lot of stuff. So it's cool. It's a really good book. Again, if action books, those type of characters are your jam, if you ever want to just read something fun that's good, I say pick it up.
Is it an ongoing or a mini?
It's a mini-series. It's only 5 issues.
Oh, cool. Okay.
This was issue 3. So like I said, this one they kind of track down the guy who is trying to kill them. They put on their cap suits. They also find out that the killer himself is like a huge Captain America fan. So he's actually like obsessed with both of them.
Oh, that's really dope.
Yeah, so like when they find him in their cap suits, he's like, "Oh my God, you guys look amazing!" Like, let's take a picture. It's like really cute. So yeah, that's cute. It's a nice little book.
Maybe I might check that out. I do like Falcon. I do like Falcon.
Again, like I said, the action folks are where it's at. We all love when Doctor Strange uses his powers against Thanos. When Steve Rogers comes up to box him, that's when you get up out your seat.
You're right. You are absolutely right.
I
did. I'm not gonna lie, I did.
It's like I was watching the first Avengers movie, the other day, and it was the scene of Black Widow and Cap fighting the what were the aliens' names again?
Chitari.
Yes, the Chitauri. They were on the bridge just fighting the Chitauri, and Black Widow takes one of their little energy spears, and she's just going to work. And I'm just like, yeah, like this is what you like to see. Like, of course, you see Thor flying around, electrocuting things, and it's like, okay, cool, boom, that's a lot of big damage. That's pretty, but it's like when you get down to the street, that's where the real work is being done. That is where the real work is being done.
Take them to the streets. So the other book that came out was Avengers 36. I have been off Avengers for quite some time. So I don't know. I have no idea what's even going on over there. I couldn't deal anymore.
My thing with Avengers. Avengers feels very episodic. Jason Aaron, every arc is kind of telling its own centralized story. So you don't necessarily have to pick up every issue. So it's like, I really like Blade, Moon Knight, She-Hulk. There are specific arcs focusing on those characters. So I can just go and pick up those arcs. I don't have to pick up the entire book. So this current arc is focusing on Moon Knight.
Oh, I know you love him.
Moon Knight's like top 3 for me. Okay. So
wow. I didn't know he was that high. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love me some Moon Knight. We'll talk about that.
I'm sure.
So, when this arc first got solicited, I was like super excited. I was like, oh my God, Moon Knight's about to have his moment, because at the time when it got solicited, I was enjoying Avengers. I think it was actually like during the Blade arc or something with vampires. So I was like, oh, Moon Knight's about to come in and have his moment. It's going to be great. It's going to be really interesting. And now the story's going, and it's just kind of like, oh my gosh. It's not bad. I think Mooney has a lot of really good moments in it. I think you said this before. It feels like it's just set up for an MCU movie or an MCU storyline. So there's a lot of big stuff happening, but it doesn't really feel like it'll matter in the long run.
Yeah, like it's just if it's anything like the arcs that I had read earlier when this Avengers when first kind of started, that all felt like, okay, these feel like scenes that you want to like have in an MCU movie. It doesn't feel like an actual story that you're telling me here.
Exactly. It's just like this.
It's almost like he's like getting panels of it, so then they have references already. Like
exactly, yeah. Like it's a good popcorn story.
Yeah,
it's just like if you just want to read something fun, cool. I think so the end of this issue, I'm going to spoil it, guys. So at the end of this issue, the Phoenix arrives, and
child,
and the Phoenix kind of merges with Moon Knight Khonshu. And it's just like, I always think back to that panel of Betsy and Rachel stuck in the white hot room during Chris Claremont's Uncanny Reload era. And Rachel's like, we're in the white hot room, the heart of the Phoenix. And Betsy gets so annoyed. And she's like, does everything have to revolve around that bloody bird? And it's just like, anytime the Phoenix is mentioned, that's how I feel.
You know what?
And Aaron loves the Phoenix. And don't get me wrong. I think, again, like from a comic standpoint of just like a big fun story, it works. It's like great. Like it's like, oh shit, like Moon Knight is merging with the Phoenix. Like, what is this about? This looks really cool. But man, do I not want to read about the Phoenix anymore.
I couldn't agree more. And the very first comic I ever read was the Phoenix Saga. The very first single issue I ever read was X-Men 137. And and I've always been, before my recent transition over to, Team Green Hair with Polaris, Jean was my girl. So like I know what the Phoenix stories and all that kind of stuff, but God damn, is it tired now? And I think I'm becoming like not a fan of the Phoenix Force. Like just leave it in a box and just lock it away.
I think they've just gone so far away from what it was originally supposed to be.
Yeah.
Or what the concept of it was. Everyone's had it now. it's just like, wasn't that a thing in like AVX? No more Phoenix.
Yes, yeah, that was a thing. But then they brought it
It,
back because they wanted to bring Jean back.
um,
Don't start. Don't. It was her time. She needed to come back.
you
Okay.
know, I still can't tell you what happened in that book. The Return of Jean Grey.
That's what's all
That's
that's important.
like
And she turned the Phoenix Force away.
still can't tell you what happened. And I'm pretty sure we've like talked about it. And I had you explain to me what happened in it. And I don't know. It's just not sticking. Like that was okay. Yeah, but the Phoenix was in the
When I
Avengers.
yes.
The Phoenix popped up in the Avengers. Again, it's a nice popcorn story. It's giving Moon Knight some moments. He like fought Black Panther this issue, which was
That's
pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah, I was gonna say that was pretty cool. Black Panther beat him, but
As he should.
he didn't go though. You know, I'm not gonna start that either. It's cool. I do think that once this arc is done, though, I'm definitely not getting the next one, which I think again will focus on the Phoenix.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't want to be bothered with that. The Phoenix, in my opinion, should be about like resurrection and life and death, and this like cosmic being. And
Yeah.
I don't think that it should just be this like omnipotent power thing that like people use to cause mass destruction.
It's just swerving
It's too
through
much.
everybody.
Yeah. And speaking of resurrection, let's do it. And X-Factor number 4, written by
Final
Leah
issue.
Williams. You know, if I didn't love Polaris, this would probably be my last one too. I think I might try to come back whenever it comes back around, because I guess
December.
they are going to be taking a break until December.
Yeah. I think what happened was since they only had that one part in X of Swords, it just skipped a month.
Yeah. This book was interesting.
Okay.
You know, I feel like as a Polaris stan, the resident Polaris stan here, you would think I would be super excited about the book giving her a lot of focus, which it was awesome to see. However, this book felt like it was written by someone who doesn't really know a lot of history about the X-Men and was just writing a story.
Okay.
Why would Polaris care that much about Rockslide dying?
Oh yeah, that was weird.
Why? And in my opinion, if you wanted to make it a moment with her, you have to actually use her history. And she was a survivor of Genosha. All you really had to do was make some kind of mention of that, where she just didn't want this to happen again to another mutant or something. But it was nothing. She just made her this like,
and she was sobbing.
Yes, it was like she just had her in this like hysterics all the time. It seemed like Leah like cranked the emotions up to 11, and I didn't think she needed to do all of that. Like a lot of these moments felt like she was just doing way too much.
So I've said so. I'll start. I think the issue transitioned nicely.
Yes,
especially from that last one. I think it continued the story in a pretty decent way. We got what's going on. I'm glad that we're kind of out of the whole what are the swords, like the people know what swords they need to get, they're going to get them. We're about to get into quest mode and like go from there. Again, Leah's writing for me is just very heavy-handed sometimes. There's not a lot of finesse. Like you said, that whole scene with Rockslide and how she felt about him, it could have just been handled in a different way to make you feel like, oh, okay, like I understand why she's so upset about this right now. It's just kind of like she's carrying around this head and it's just like a little creepy. And then she uses his remains to like make this memorial. That's kind of morbid.
I thought that too. It's a little weird.
I was just like, oh, that's kind of like, damn. And it could have been explained in a way that made it work. You know, she is this woman, she's the survivor, she's seen all these people die, even when she was on X-Factor, you know, and like Monet died and stuff like that. Like she's seen her team and people who she's supposed to be watching go, and it's just like, oh no, it's Rock Slide. And I love the new X-Men.
Same. The Academy X kids are great. You know, I'm a Hellion stan.
Yeah, like, okay, they're here. That is the team, and we're gonna talk about them a little bit later too. I'm not crying like that over Rock Slide.
No, sorry. If like Polaris, like she has no connection to him, why was she doing all of that for?
Just like
Rock Slide.
Nothing. It was just and then the art. Carlos Gomez, I think, did the art for this issue.
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know if it was a part of Leah's script or just, you know, the way he was drawing. A lot of the transitions just didn't really feel that great to me. There was like the scene when Rockslide first gets resurrected and like you kind of think he's going to attack.
Yeah.
And then he just stands there. And we just kind of like cut to everybody talking and having a normal time. And then even when like the cradles all malfunction, you thought it was going to be something way more serious than just like, oh, that one backup of, or that one file of Rockslide has been corrupted forever. It was just kind of like, there were just a lot of things that I didn't really love about the writing.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like more of a writing issue. Because like, the finesse just was not there. I don't know if that is just because maybe she just isn't that type of writer. Maybe she's just more of a storyteller. Yeah. But I feel like for this kind of event and for these kind of characters, you have to have that finesse. Otherwise, you could swap them out for anybody. Like you have to have some kind of history and background there. Otherwise, it feels like anybody could have been there. I felt like the only reason that this was only even Polaris was because Saturnine put the message in her head via like electromagnetism, which I thought was really cool. But
I did enjoy the mini X-Factor reunion of the issue though. Monet, Siren, Polaris, Richter, all kind of being around each other and talking. That was nice.
Yeah, I wish that there was just a little bit more of that history, like you just said, with them like being around each other, that there was just more acknowledgement of that, you know? Like
I agree with that. I think that's something that the X books have been, a lot of comic books in general have been lacking lately. And I am always going to be about like moving characters forward, new interactions, and like seeing new people together. But I do feel like when you are making these small callbacks to things, like it's nice to like give some type of nod, like actually have them talk about this before, you know, like Richter just died, Monet's died a couple of times now. Hey, I know what you're going through. That would have been a nice moment. But I'm
also just feeling like her characterization of some of the characters in this book were off for me. Like
I did not like her Emma.
Yeah. I understood her motivations for Emma. Like that is something
the motivation rang true. Like Emma would absolutely be upset about a student dying. She loves kids. That's what she does. It's what she's great at. I mean, kind of. They tend to die a lot around her, but it is what it is. But you know, she does love the kids, so it's like you expect her to have some type of reaction. I felt like her reaction was written more hysterically than you would expect Emma to react.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my God, does no one care about the children? She's like raising her voice, slamming her hand down. Like that's not really Emma to me. Like she's very focused in her fury. Like, you know, she's pissed, but she's cutting, she's angry. She's like giving you just like little snide comments here and there. Or she's just digging into you completely.
Yeah.
She's not the one to get all loud and crazy like that. You know, someone mentioned that would have been a really good reaction from Kitty. Probably not the same type of dialogue, obviously, but you know, just hysterical, loud, snide, bratty, abrasive, yelling at Xavier, because what else does she do best? Professor Xavier is a jerk. It's iconic. You know, so something like, and you know, she was a headmistress too, so she would hopefully care about the kids somewhat. So it was just,
yeah. I don't know. I also felt like her Lorna was weird. I don't know. It felt super off because when has Lorna ever been this like self-hating, I want to fade away person? Yeah. That's never been her ever. And it's weird for such, like, she set up this like, you know, nod to say she didn't even really know who Polaris was in issue 1 when her and Magneto had that talk, and she was like, you know, hey Dad, how would you describe me?
My personality.
And yeah. So I get that she was basically trying to say, you know, I don't even really know Polaris's personality. We're just gonna figure it out. But that to me means like she isn't a new character. Like she ain't brand new. Just go back and like read some of that old shit, girl, and figure it out. I don't know where you got this whole like, I just want to fade away sometimes if I feel like I'm doing really poorly.
Yeah, that was weird.
You know, when Giant Size X-Men Jean and Emma came out, Hickman gave this interview where he talked about telepaths and how he feels that mutants in general, their powers really affect how they kind of move through the world and how they experience life. And he felt like telepaths would end up becoming either really open and emotional like Jean, or closed and cut off like, you know, Emma or Betsy, just because of the way that their minds work. They're that much access to it. You either make you really open to people and you want to help them, or you don't want to be bothered with them because you know they're the way they are inside. And I feel like I would obviously be the former. And I feel like that kind of thinking can actually be applied to a lot of other characters. And I do feel like with Lorna, she is very much that push and pull. There's this dichotomy of her of strong and uncompromising, and sometimes willing to take it there. You know, she's not afraid to let loose if she needs to. And sometimes the opposite side of that is where she is unsure of herself, but she's never one to just kind of fade away. She is more to kind of rise to the occasion, and she is not just gonna
even like when
become a crybaby.
Even like when Genosha was destroyed, you know, she was lashing out, she was distraught, she was crying. Jean and them had to kind of bring her back down, but she was like building monuments to Magneto. She was still very much like, we are here, we are thriving, we are not disappearing. So I agree to say, oh yeah, I kind of wish I'd fade away. The only time I can really ever think of a depressed Polaris is probably during Milligan's run after after the hold on. Milligan has some decent stuff over there, all right? We're not going to do that to him.
Okay.
I can't think of what it is right now, but there was something. His Storm was really good. When he did the little crossover with Black Panther issue, like his Storm was cute. Good.
Yeah.
You know, anyway. But, you know, she was kind of depressed, but she had also lost her powers. This was after Decimation. Right. And so, you know, she was like standing in front of the Sentinels, telling them like to step on her or something like that. It was weird. Or no, she was actually talking about how she hoped that if she had put herself in a dangerous enough situation that her powers would return.
Yeah.
So it's like, even when she's sad, she's still like, I gotta do something about this.
I gotta do something about this. So I don't know where
you
this
gotta
whole,
see
like,
me.
Okay. I don't know where this whole like crying hysterics over some mutant she's never met came from. Like they've been around each other in the past, I'm sure, but even while he was being killed, her back was turned. She wouldn't even have known that that he was cut by that sword. So that made, I don't know, it just felt off for me. And she spent like the majority of the book just being sad and like crying. And I felt like that was weird. For some people, this may be their first time with her because she wasn't really prominent in a lot of these books previously.
And
so for the people who, you know, this is your first time, this is not how she is. Okay.
Lorna's a crazy gal, all right?
No, she is not. she is a great time. She is not this like crying, whatever. I will say this book for me, I didn't like it. I like the art. Actually, was a fan
Okay.
of the way that he drew Polaris and a lot of the other characters. Actually, I like the way that he drew the figures.
Mm-hmm.
But the saving grace for the book for me was Polaris's speech at the end. Yeah. Otherwise, this would have not been good at
all. Again, like I think Leah's writing to me is just very heavy-handed, so it always kind of takes me out the story. I still think that it was a really nice transition, and I'm excited to get to the rest of the story and some other people's interpretations of it. I loved, again, that we are set up past, like, we know who needs what swords. They need to go get them so we can keep this moving. What did you think about the prophecies?
Oh, okay. So there's one that I think for sure that I nailed down. Okay. One of them was the Warlock prophecy. Obviously, like that one was obvious.
Yeah, most definitely.
About Warlock for sure being a sword. But the portion of it that said, out of one comes many, into many comes one, makes me feel like that out of one comes many portion is Phalanx infecting Krakoa. And I think that, or some other area, but I think he's going to infect and repopulate and make a more warlocks and like more of that technarchy, and he then is going to get I think the Magus is going to come back, his like father, and I think that'll be like a thing.
Do you think this is the start of some of the collective stuff that we saw in Hoxpox?
I think yes. And I think I don't know if that's going to be like the big story. Probably not. I think probably Moira would be the big story. But I do think that this and kind of what we saw in Giant Size Storm with Doug and at the end of it being able to kind of communicate with that machine. Yeah. I think that the whole Machines Are Rising portion is definitely going to be this big event that I think is probably going to be happening next year.
I can see that. I'd enjoy that too. And it could work because, Tom Taylor is supposed to be coming back and doing an event with Marvel that I think the X-Men is involved in. And because I like remember, fan. I think it's supposed to be like something broad, but I remember that they're bringing something about Iron Man in it and Emma.
Oh, cool. I think that's the Dark Ages, right?
Is that what that is?
Yeah, that he's doing a basically another Elseworld story where all of the electricity. You know how they be saying him up. Tom Taylor is a fantastic writer, but they just always just tell him to write.
It's weird. It's weird. And it's like, is he pitching these? Does he not want to do like main universe stuff, or is it just?
I always wonder if
he's good at.
I wonder if he just likes the freedom of the Elseworld stuff, because there you can do
anything. He made Black Canary a Green Lantern.
Yeah. So
like, go crazy.
Do whatever you want to do. So I think in that story, like something happens with the electricity. I think it all goes out or something like that. So yeah.
Never mind. That's over. That's canceled. So machine event. Yeah. I'm here for it.
Rise of the Machines.
I agree.
Yeah, that's the one prophecy I do think it's gonna happen. What about you? Do you have any?
I didn't dig too much into the prophecies. So honestly, the big part of the issue for me that I was stuck on was the resurrection protocol and how it is now messed up. And if you die, Otherworld corrupts your file. So if you die in Otherworld, it pretty much means you're basically going to get a new death. You're going to get a reset. And obviously that was made for a reason, or like that was pinpointed for a reason. So someone else is going to probably die in this event. And I think I've just been kind of trying to figure out who that's going to be. I think Apocalypse is going to die though. The true death.
You think? Oh, really?
Yeah. Apocalypse has obviously been a very huge part of the first year of Krakoa world building. And I feel like in the last few issues of Excalibur, X-Men, Creation #1, there was a lot of foreshadowing with characters mentioning how Apocalypse is always sacrificing everyone else. Even his kids over in Araco. It's like he leaves everybody dies as long as he continues to go and thrive. And I just feel like that's all kind of setting him up to finally meet his end, or like he'll finally come to some term to sacrifice himself for other people. It could be a switch and he still might not do it because he's just like, whatever, I don't care, I'm alive. But he's one person on my hit list. Some people have been speculating that Betsy's going to die, and
I don't think they do. They just brought her back into her white lady body.
Exactly. It's what would be the point?
I don't think they're gonna do that.
So,
but I could see Apocalypse receiving the quote unquote true death, because where would you actually end up taking his story from here? Not,
and I'd be heartbroken because I love Apocalypse.
I know you do.
He's great.
This is the most interested I think I've ever been in him, is the whole Krakoa era.
Yeah, he's got some horrible stories.
Yeah, they be boring.
I mean, there's like some good in there mixed.
Oh yeah,
in.
For sure.
It's just a lot more bad than good. So,
yeah.
But all in all, I think this week of books was pretty decent for me.
Yeah, it was. It was not for me. Let me not even lie. It was not. I was super excited for X-Factor, and honestly, the parts about X-Factor that I liked were the obvious parts that had to be included for the story. So, in my opinion, the point of chapter 2 was to show that the resurrection protocols were broken, and to get to the 10 swords at the end. So those portions of the story were cool. It was literally just everything else I was not really a fan of.
Yeah, I don't really care for the stuff that she does with the 5. Like the way they kind of reacted and just destroyed all the backup eggs. That was a little weird to me. Everyone was just very like hysterical in the book.
Yeah,
and it kind of just felt odd.
Yeah,
like.
I don't really know what's going on with this going forward, but I'm gonna stick around for Lorna Dane.
No, this was my last issue, so I did remove it from my pull list. I mean, I'll probably still keep up via reviews and what Twitter tells me is happening. If I see something that potentially looks really, really interesting, I might pick up an issue. But I gave it those first 3. I said I was going to stay on for this X of Swords tie-in, and yeah.
You out.
I'm unsubscribed. So,
I'm gonna stick around for a little bit, but child, I don't know how long.
More power to it. If you love the book, I'm so happy for you.
On that note, let's take a break.
Got it. All right. All right. So we had a little bit happen this week.
Yeah.
News-wise. Jamie Foxx was announced to be in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, he's coming back to put his on, get the green suit on and be Electro.
So apparently I saw an article that said he wasn't going to be blue in this movie.
Oh yeah, so when he posted about it, he said specifically, like, I'm not going to be blue in this one.
Oh, that's exciting. So I'm not going to lie to you. I've never seen a single Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie.
Damn. Well, I mean, you aren't missing a lot. Yeah, you aren't really missing a lot. It's just another damn Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. So no, at the time they were coming out, I was just very burnt out on Spider-Man. I did not. And and I say this all the time, I'm not a huge Peter Parker fan. I think Spider-Man has fantastic stories. Like, his stories are immaculate.
Yeah.
I will pick them up, but I have no connection to Peter whatsoever. I'm like Black Cat in that way. You know how she's like hot for Spider-Man, but she
Don't see it for Peter.
like she thinks he's gross.
Yeah.
That's me. I'm here for that. Like totally. He's got on the suit. Absolutely. I'm about it. Whenever it's his day to day, it's like no. So I was just like really burnt out on the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man time. And I never watched them. And then the clips and things that I have seen of it online, it never really made me want to jump up to go and see it.
No, you didn't miss so much.
So
in my opinion, he made a great Spider-Man. His Peter Parker wasn't that great. So you're not missing. You really didn't miss so much. But I do think it'll be cool to see Jamie Foxx like back as Electro. I really hope that it's not a multiverse thing because I don't like multiverse.
I feel like that's where we're going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like absolutely where we're going. The WandaVision stuff, Doctor Strange, we're totally going. They have the What If animated show coming out. Yeah, we're definitely gonna hit multiverse and see a lot of the same people in different versions.
That to me is fine for like a one and done thing. I don't want this to become like an ongoing, hey, we're always like multiverse hopping. Then it takes the excitement out for me. So I hope that it isn't a multiverse, constant. Whatever. I hope he's just playing Electro, like just this version of Electro. And Jamie Foxx was like, I need to check. I still got my measurements from my old suit. I could send it over to y'all. And hey, I know what a lot is. I could drive right over and let's do this.
Okay, I'm down for that.
I hope it was more of that and not like them trying to make a multiverse thing and bringing old people back just to have them back.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, also, even like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, I'm still kind of like, okay. It's just, I don't know.
He's adorable.
I
think he makes a great little Spider-Man.
He's fantastic Spider-Man. I think he's probably like my favorite of the three. But I just, it's Spider-Man. It's like, all right, that's cool. He's cool. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. Yeah.
And also in casting, shout out to her. Miss Marvel was finally announced.
Yes, she was. Yes, that's awesome.
Before we even get into like the casting bit of her, the actress, as a Captain Marvel stan, you are a Captain Marvel stan.
Yes, that's
make sure we clear that up. How do you feel about Miss Marvel?
The character?
Yes.
So, not only am I a Captain Marvel fan, I'm obviously an X-Men fan, and I know how we all feel about the Inhumans. But Ms. Marvel is one of the few that I actually do like. And for me, I used to read her series, I think the first 2 volumes that she had, actually, I was keeping up with all the single issues there. Back when G. Willow Wilson was writing her, when she created her.
Yeah, shout out to them.
Yeah, for real. I think that was really dope. And she just, for me, felt like speaking of Spider-Man, she felt like the Spider-Man for like a newer generation. And but it didn't feel like, forced. It didn't feel like this random kind of story. It felt very real and authentic, and I kind of kept up with her. However, I ended up falling off of it because I'm still 30. or about to be. I'm about to be 30. So like some of the stories for me, I'm like, okay, this is clearly not for me. So some of it I couldn't really get up into, but I do like the character. I do like Ms. Marvel and her powers. I like when she is not only inspired by Carol, but critical of her when they do team up sometimes, because again, Carol can sometimes be punch first and figure it out later, or figure it out while she's punching. And during those team up with Ms. Marvel, she's usually called out on that by her. And it makes Carol kind of reassess what she's doing, because she's like, doing this around this kid, but I need to be more of a role model. So I do like their dynamic, and I do like the character.
Do they have like, I guess, a very close relationship? Because I feel like even though when Kamala was first introduced, obviously she was like this huge Captain Marvel fan, but they've also put a lot of emphasis on how she is a superhero fan in general. And they make sure she kind of teams up with like all of the other heroes to get that moment with them. I guess, you know, in terms of, would you ever see Kamala being in a Captain Marvel book full time?
I don't think so, because at this point she is very much her own character.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's
well, I should say a duo book of them, like a Captain
a Captain Marvel. I actually don't think so, because their relationship, it started off very like she idolized Carol when she actually when her powers first emerged, she transformed into Carol. When she
I do remember that.
Yeah, when she emerged from her inhuman cocoon, she like transformed into Carol, because I think that's what she just wanted to be, was her. But I think it became that story of sometimes it's not always best to meet your idols, and Kamala got to get closer to Carol, but really see who Carol was, and then that makes her want to say, okay, well, maybe I don't need to.
Okay, I would have done the same thing.
Don't start. It's like maybe I don't need to always be like this. I know she was not on her side during, you know, that awful event of Civil War II.
The time.
You know, and I think that actually all those kids kind of separated themselves from that. They felt like
they definitely were.
And so no, I don't think that they'd ever really have a team up book together. I think when they are brought together now, it's less of Ms. Marvel kind of idolizing Carol. She does idolize her in the way that she idolizes every superhero now, but not in the way that I think, and I could be wrong, but not in the way that she initially did, where she kind of wanted to be like her.
Got it. Okay, I remember that. So I read, again, shout out to the team Marvel, everybody who helped bring Kamala to life. I don't think I've ever seen a new character become so popular so fast and jump up. She's in video games. She's got a TV show coming.
Yeah.
She's got merchandise. She had multiple books. She's been the big Avenger already. You know, she leads the Champions. And that's really great for her. When I read the book, for me, she was one of those characters that was very altruistic in a sense. Like she is the embodiment of good. And I like a little morally gray hero every now and again. But and again, it's also kind of like you said, I think a lot of the newer teen heroes that have been introduced are for the younger generation. And it's not to say that we can't appreciate them and the stories that they have, but we also understand that the stories that they have aren't for us.
Exactly.
And
I can appreciate them from a distance. I don't have to be super involved because they're not actually for me.
Yeah, like a lot of those like current champion characters and things like that, I know who they are. I can't tell you too much about them.
Yeah, love the diversity of all of them. You know, with
it's
Marvel being like
they did a great job with that, especially forming their little like new trinity of Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, and the Nova Kid.
Yeah, that's a dope little trinity. That's really cool. And even with the casting, they hired a Pakistani American actress. I think you pronounce her name Aman Vellani.
Yes.
I don't really know anything that she's been in. I think she's fairly new to like acting. I also think it's really cool that they went with a young like kid actress instead of going older and like trying to make her
them younger.
Yeah. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch the show. I think all this casting news has been great. It just means I'm getting closer to Moon Knight.
I'm sure.
I think that'll like, if I can get that before the end of the year, like I'll be so happy.
Yeah, they gave me She-Hulk and Moon Knight.
It's just like, wow.
When the stars align.
So, you know, I was telling this to someone else the other day. I was like, you know, I have very lucky faves. Okay.
Yes. I don't.
Like a lot of my faves get some really good stuff. You know, I was with Ten of Swords, Marvel released a little Araco sword bearer thing, get to know them and like who they are. And
Yeah.
I'm an Iska the Unbeaten stan already. Like she is my number one. She actually should probably join the X-Men once this is all done. You know, they were saying she's cursed to win.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you know, if I had a mutant power, I think it would be that I back the winners. You know, it's just like
you go up for the girls who go where.
it's just like they are going places. It's just maybe I'm the good luck charm for them. I don't get any of the good luck myself, but it like works for them. But it's just like you know, they get lucky. They get a lot of good things. They get good artists. They get good stories. I won't lie, they get some rough patches every now and again, but for the most part, it's like, hey, they thrive, and I love
they
that.
do. Mine, on the other hand, I just be over here, I just be happy they're there.
I mean, I feel like a lot of your faves are already popular, though.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
You know, you got a Jean Grey. It's like,
yeah. Except Polaris, I gotta work to help get people to know who she is and fight against this now.
Do you know how long I have been trying to get people on the Dazzler train? You got some work to do.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of, you know, the younger heroes, all of these things, there's something that I want to discuss.
Yes.
That is the new X-Men. And we talked about Rockslide a little bit earlier, and when we mentioned DC, we spoke about, you know, how the younger sidekicks finally rise up, become their own heroes. And I have realized that the new X-Men is probably going to be the final young group of kids that I actually invest my time in, or that I have invested my time in. And
okay, what a statement. All right.
Yeah. So I've just been thinking about, you know, it was always, I grew up in the 90s, so I know New Mutants, Gen X, like the back of my hand. The New Mutants are my, like, team. I'm the New Mutant stan. All those characters, those were my young guys. I didn't really care for Generation X outside of, like, one or two characters. They were just kind of weird and gross to me. Like, I just imagine being on a team with Husk and she's like shedding her skin all over the place and like Skin is just being himself. They're just not for me. But when the new X-Men came onto the scene, you know, Academy X, great run, by the way. If you've never picked it up, please do. Even like the Grant Morrison kids, like that whole little cluster time period has just a really great bunch. And I know a lot of people have been clamoring for them to return, especially after this X-Factor issue where Rockslide appeared. You know, it's like, oh my God, there's another new X-Men. He died, so they're kind of upset about it. And I think about how they've kind of been pushed to the side for all of these other newer, younger groups. And Children of the Atom is coming out. Which, are you excited for this book?
No. I really want to be, but I'm going to go ahead and say no. Is it being written by Vita Ayala? I think that's how you pronounce it.
It is.
Is she writing it? I want to support her because I think she's dope. I'm sorry. Apologies.
Yes. Just as a reminder for everyone, Vita Ayala's pronouns are they, them.
Apologies. They are pretty good. I liked what they did in the Prisoner X book with Polaris, Abby. and I liked,
Bishop was in that, so I'll give you that.
Yeah, he was. I liked what they did with that. But for me, I'm not excited for Children of the Atom because that should just be the Academy X kids. Why would we bring more kids in when we already have kids?
So I feel like that. And then also I feel like during the few announcements and things they've said about the book, it sounds like they're human kids who are like cosplaying as X-Men. And I've heard like some rumors or speculation that people think they'll be chimeras of some sort and they'll get the powers. But I'm just like, I don't want to read about these kids when I have so many other kids that can be utilized right now. And here's my thing with the new X-Men. I actually don't want a new X-Men book.
Oh, really?
I think, again, that whole cluster of like Grant Morrison era kids, Dust, the Cuckoos, Hellion, Surge, all of them, I do not want them in their own book. I think they're at the point now where they should be full-fledged X-Men.
Oh, right.
On
yes,
teams
you understand.
with other people.
Yes. Yes.
They should, like, it's just like when Gentle was on X-Men Red. You know? I don't want to see them being kids anymore because I don't think that class is kids. If we're going to get a kid book, that can be the folks like iBoy, Shark Girl, Nature Girl, some of
that
those
Wolverine and X-Men
kids, which is a group
kids.
Yeah, which is a group I kind of associate with like the Champions. Like they're the younger kids. They're fine, but their stories aren't for me. I am ready to see those new X-Men kids finally graduate. And I'll never forget, Jordan D. White was on Twitter one day and somebody was asking him about the new X-Men. And he made like some comment. He was like, it's really tough to find places for those characters because you don't want them to replace the X-Men that already exist. And I'm just like, what? Like that's like that's exactly like what just school and life and all that stuff is. And of course, you're going to get to this point. Not all of those new X-Men kids are going to take off. They're not all going to be in books. Some of them will fall to the wayside. Some of them are going to disappear. I don't really think anybody is rushing to write Indra, which, no disrespect to Indra.
Cool character.
Great. I think he's got a really interesting visual, but I just don't think anyone's rushing to write him. But it's like when you think of like Surge, Hellion, Dust, obviously Prodigy is another example. He's on X-Factor right now. That's where all of those characters should be. Don't put them back together in this school. Like anyone who was with Laura Wolverine, should be a full-fledged X-Men at this point.
Agreed. I mean, if she can be, right? Why couldn't they?
Okay. Even Pixie, like during the whole time when they had like Pixie, Armor, Glob, and Rockslide kind of being like the four kids around in a knoll, for them it just felt weird. Especially when you look at someone like Pixie, who's like been a X-Man. It's just like, how do we keep?
How we go back?
It's just like, how do we get here again? So to know that that's happening and they keep saying like, oh, we can't do anything for these kids or we don't really want to put them there. But here we are, we're about to get Children of the Atom, which if you're excited for the book, that's fantastic. Again, new characters are great. I think that Vita is a pretty decent writer and will tell an interesting story, but we got to show some love to the ones who are here.
We do, before they end up just kind of falling back into the toy chest and no one ever plays with them.
Because that's the road it's going down.
I feel like I actually wouldn't mind seeing them in a book altogether, but only under the premise of I kind of feel like that group of X-Men should actually be like the X-Men's Young Justice. I feel like they should be. They've graduated now. They don't need to do that whole like class thing. Honestly, I feel like they should be the stars of Bishop's War College. And
as like the teachers or the agents?
Agents, like the students that are learning how to work with their powers together or whatever. And
I can agree with that.
And learning how their powers can work in different kind of circuits and whatever, like they were mentioning in those data pages. I think that it would be really cool to see them not only working together, but like sent out on whatever kind of X-related missions that they can kind of only do together. So I think it would be really cool to see them in a book, but not as students. I think as like a covert X-Men team.
I can agree with that. I think, and I think that would be interesting too, because so many of the kids have gone through separate things. So it would be nice to see how they kind of like come back together. Even like in X-Factor, they're bringing Wind Dancer back. So
Love
how
her.
she'll react. She's a great character, really great character. A lot of the new X-Men are great characters.
They great,
okay?
yeah.
Like they are like the stories Academy X. If you guys have never read, you know, New X-Men Academy X, New X-Men by Yost and Kyle, Nunzio De Phillips and Christina Weir. Did someone else write the book?
I mostly remember the.
I think those were the main two. The Academy X era was pretty great. It was like them in the school, you know, they were doing like school dances and stuff like that. Very like high school teen drama with superpowers. And it was like,
it was
fun.
very Degrassi, but with powers.
Yeah. And then, you know, the Yost and Kyle era came, and that was also post House of M decimation. So the kids were put through hell. A bus exploded. Lots of kids died. Rest in peace to Rubbermaid. Actually, she might be back alive now.
She could be.
Shout out to the writers if she is.
Child, you love to name drop the most random D-list characters.
Let me tell you something about Miss Rubbermaid, all right? She's everything. Is she a Chris Claremont original? I actually think she showed up in Extreme X-Men first.
Is she?
I think so. I'll have to like fact check that to be sure.
Yeah. Tweet us and let us know.
Yeah, I'll be sure to do that. I'm pretty sure there was an issue of Extreme X-Men where Claremont had that team go back to the school, and they like ran into a bunch of kid mutants. There was one called Tantra. He was like an elephant, and his power was basically like he made you orgasm. Okay. And I'm pretty sure Rubbermaid was one of those students who popped up in that book. So yeah, it's like she's a Chris Claremont original. Claremont. She's history, okay? She's a Claire Mazan. You do not. Okay, like let's talk about it.
I swear, the most random character.
You know? And so, yeah, I think it's time. Like, we really gotta. I don't know what Marvel is going to do though when it comes to the new X-Men and actually taking them a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. Again,
like you see some of the kids now thriving. You see Prodigy and X-Factor. You see Rockslide just died. Loa popped up. They pop up every now and again, but it's time to really see them like do something. And of course, you know, and to Jordan's point, of course, we don't want to completely replace some of the big X-Men. I know people don't want to ever get rid of Storm.
Of course not.
Or Jean Grey. But it's like, it'll be nice to see them interact with somebody else.
It would be. I think it's been cool to see them kind of be used as like, you know, a little sprinkle and on the topping for every book, all these books. But it's time for them to become their own meal. You know, I think they deserve to at least have some kind of actual push. And because there are a lot of really cool and interesting characters there. That
do you have any preferences of like who you think should be bumped up?
Oh, well, obviously Hellion.
Of course. Does he still not have hands?
No. And I think they need to just go ahead and give him his hands back.
No, I kind of love the no hands thing.
It was a cool thing in 2010. We've moved forward, okay?
His little visual, his little floating metal hands.
No, we've moved forward. Just give him his hands back and give him a new redesign too. Let's move forward. I would love to see him. I'd love to see Mercury. I really liked her.
She's a good one.
She's really cool. Surge is dope.
Shout out to Surge.
I think those are my top 3 of those Academy X kids. Who else did I actually? Icarus was cool. But he's back now. We saw him.
I do love Icarus, and he's like a useful angel.
Right.
Like,
right.
Like Warren Worthington III is like the worst X character.
They're much worse. There's worse.
No,
Domino for me is worse than him.
Okay, so Domino is bad, but like with Domino, you can actually so like here's my thing with Warren. Sorry, I'm going on a quick tangent really fast. Here's my thing with Warren. I think Warren as a concept is just bad. he's like white privilege on paper.
I think that's his point, though, right?
But it's not interesting. Who wants to read about that? Like, he doesn't do anything interesting with it aside from like just buy stuff. He's the rich guy, and it's like, okay, and it's like your power is useless. You fly. Okay, I'm sorry, you turn into a metal guy or blue guy with metal wings on occasion, but then like you don't even like hit your targets with those, and it's just like he is just so. He's bored, and he's just like I can't get into him. And then it's like you try and make him interesting, so they do things where they make him a little bit darker, or he's so angsty, but it's also like you can't have angst 24/7 because then your character becomes unbearable, so they have to revert him back to white privilege, and nobody wants to read that.
Yeah, no, not at all. I experienced that in the real world.
Okay, it's like I don't care about this. It's just like,
no. I think the only way you really even make that interesting for him was the kind of hints that we saw in that Empire X-Men book with X-Corp, and probably just seeing him be like a white businessman, you know.
And he's just like dumb. It's it's like when you think, so, you know, people love the 05, or Marvel loves the 05. And it's like when you think about the original 5 X-Men, like everyone kind of has their thing. It's like Cyclops is the leader. Jean is the heart of the team. Beast is the brains. Iceman is the funny guy, comedian, also kind of like charmer. Warren's supposed to be the rich guy, but it's like after that, okay, now everybody has money. Xavier's got money. Emma's got money. You know, Betsy's got money. Like people have, like we have other people to fill the money role. Why are you here? What do you bring to the table?
He's nice to look at.
Child.
I guess that's about it. and the coin, I guess the coin to help fund X Corp. But again, like you said, Xavier got that covered now. Xavier is his own nation. So
yeah, it's just like Warren as a character is just like blood. Icarus is a useful angel. He fights also. Let's not forget when he punched Hellion, knocked him out.
He did.
He has like the sound mimicry ability with his voice.
Mm-hmm.
He's interesting. He's a Guthrie. You know, the Guthries are a fun clan, not Husk.
Is it Guthrie? Guthrie? I always pronounce it Guthrie.
I say Guthrie.
I have no idea.
Guthrie. Tell us what you say, guys. Guthrie,
yeah, for real. I have no idea how to say it. I just probably say Guthrie.
So yeah,
I like his red wings too. They're cool.
It's a great visual.
Cool visual. Yeah.
Great visual.
Those Academy X kids have some really great characters. It's time for them to really get
the
real shine.
It was a good time. Like those books are good. Like truly, if you have never read anything with the new X-Men Academy X kids, like please go and read it immediately. If you have Marvel Unlimited, go pick it up. I mean you don't have to pick it up, it's on the app, but it's like go dig deep into those issues. There's some really good stories that just have a lot of heart. They're very emotionally taxing. You know, when Wallflower got shot, that was wow.
They put them kids through it.
Like
the trauma, jeez.
The trauma. And you know, and I think about their time during Messiah Complex too, and like how good that was. Like they felt like really into the mix. Even when they did like work together, went off and did their own thing, they were like still out there with the X-Men. Like that's how I feel they should be right now. At least a couple of them. We gotta keep them. I
agree. Don't shelve them. Or don't keep killing them off. Don't leave them as cannon fodder. It's time to let them stick around.
Yeah. Let them mentor the children of the Atom.
Or just get rid of that book. or let them replace them in that book.
It just seems like such a strange concept to me.
Yeah.
It's just like
you don't have to be.
We're going into this era of mutant supremacy, as people keep saying it, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna let some humans pretend to be us.
Yeah, I don't like that if they're humans. I hope that is just false information. I don't know the details of it because I'm not really interested in it either way, because I'd rather it just be the Academy X kids, but yeah. Weird decisions.
Weird. All right. So let's take another little break here.
All right, and then we'll come back for that relaunch.
The relaunch. I'm excited about this one. we are back for the relaunch.
All right, so I will go first this week because I guess mine's a little shorter. And I am going to do my favorite character, actually, in the greater Marvel, my number one, and that is Susan Storm Richards.
Is she your number one in the greater Marvel?
She is. Yes, she is. Yes, that means she's above Jean and Polaris. She is. Wow. I mean, when you stop and think about it, Sue is a blend of Jean and Polaris. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, she's my number one there. I've always been a huge fan of characters with potential who they recognize their potential and then they kind of go after it. And I love to see her in the earlier books where her powers would kind of grow and she would know that she was kind of the most powerful of the Fantastic Four. and she would kind of flex whenever she needed to as far as her powers were. But I also really appreciated that her compassion and her care for her family. I really appreciate that. And yeah, she's my number one. I mean, I could give a background on her, but like, y'all know who she is. I mean, she's
Franklin's mom.
Ooh, see.
I'm sorry, she's Franklin and Valeria's mom.
That is right, correct. She's got two kids. Okay. we are not gonna disrespect Valeria. She is the only female member of the Fantastic Four. She has the powers of invisibility and to create force fields. She originally met Reed Richards when she was like in high school, but I hope they kind of aged that up. You know, because there's a little bit of things that are problematic there. However, they kind of touch on that where she becomes, when they kind of go into her deeper psyche and her personality, sometimes she feels as though she is looked at as just like the kid of the group because her husband is older than her and everyone else is like a macho dude and she feels like everyone is kind of looking down on her even though she is more powerful. Right. That was actually a story that was brought out when she faced probably, I think, someone you can consider as her villain is Psycho Man, who he used his kind of psychic mesmeric powers to kind of manipulate her and make her into Malice, which funny enough, Polaris also became Malice, but it was a different Malice, but literally the exact same concept. Like she was taken over by this like need.
Was her as Malice was that when she was wearing like the skimpy Fantastic Four outfit with like
that
the boob window?
That is not boob window actually. That was right. Yeah, we don't like to talk about that.
Mama was having her moment.
You know, Mama wanted to let the girls out, but we try to move past that moment. The Malice is when she was wearing that like black ripped up dress, and they tried to make her look as this like kind of Maleficent looking character. These draping like dress on her body. And she had these like inner impulses to just kind of be evil, but she ended up fighting that back or whatever and overcoming that with her own compassion and then realizing that it's okay to recognize your powers and lash out if you need to, and that's not a bad thing. And not to like bottle up her emotions, which I think was something I can kind of relate to there. And she after she met Reed, you know, they became a couple, they go into space, they get the powers. I mean, everybody knows the story of the Fantastic Four, right? And everybody's seen the movies and the clips with Jessica Alba and them contacts.
Those contacts.
You know, in that first movie, she actually wasn't a bad Susan Storm. The movies were just bad. She wasn't terrible. The movies were just bad.
The Fantastic Four are not blessed in that front.
No, again, I don't have the best luck with my faves. Normally during this relaunch portion, I would give you the update on where she is currently, but I dropped off of Fantastic Four back in, I think, issue like maybe 22, something like that. 23.
It's that far along?
Yeah, it's been going.
Oh wow! And Dan Slott's writing right now, right?
Dan Slott is writing. Actually, I may have jumped off maybe earlier than that. It may have been like 17 or 18.
I might pick it up. I like Dan Slott.
You know, I normally also really like Dan Slott. I didn't mind his Spider-Man run. I actually read a significant portion of it. I liked it.
Love that.
It kind of trailed off towards the end as he was like heading out and leaving out of Spider-Man, but whatever. And I also liked his Superior Spider-Man run.
I thought that was amazing.
I thought that was really cool. But his Fantastic Four, for me, has been a whole lot of nothing. It's a lot of recycled stories and Reed being the one to figure it all out, and everyone else is just there to keep the villain busy. And it's also mostly The Thing. I think Dan Slott is really a big fan of The Thing and wants to give him
really
moments.
love The Thing.
I know. I'm not the biggest Thing fan. I'm kind of over the whole, oh my gosh, I'm a monster, but when will someone ever love me thing? Like, let's move forward.
Why are you still made of rock, sir?
I think that at this point, it's a shame he doesn't still have control of his powers. Like he should.
Yeah.
If Reed Richards can turn off Franklin's
powers,
I think he should be able to fix The Thing.
Okay.
But I'm sure we can go into that like much later. So yeah, Dan Slott for me is like, it feels like a rehash of a whole lot of the same, this kind of cyclical story or whatever, and it's not really pushing anything forward.
Okay.
You know, and I want them to be pushed forward. So that I had to get off the book. Beautiful book though. If there's one thing the Fantastic Four are gonna have, it's a good artist.
That is true.
Great artist. I mean, they're having RB Silva come on as the main artist.
I wish people would stop taking artists from the X books.
I know. And to be honest, I think he's joining with Fantastic Four number 25, I think. So yeah, I definitely jumped off way sooner than that. I think he's joining with 25. And for me, with him coming on, I might want to give the book another go. I know, because I do want to see him draw suit, but I just don't want to read a story about like Galactus again, or like the same kind of tired story. So normally I would give an update on where she is now, but I'm not really reading the Fantastic Four.
I feel that.
But where I would relaunch her is I would actually keep the Fantastic Four as a group, but I would take her out and make her the leader of a Defenders book. And what I would do with that is I'd call it Defenders, and I'd move them to the West Coast, and I'd kind of make it like an amalgamation of that street level Defenders. Remember the all new Defenders, the all female team? It would be like a mix of them and the old school Defenders, where it was like the kind of outskirty characters.
It was like Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, Silver Surfer. Yeah. The Hulk, I think, was also a part of that group. But I would not put them in it, but I would kind of mix those level of characters and have her be the leader. I originally thought about having her be like the leader of an A-Force book, which I think would be also really dope. But I also don't always want her to just be pigeonholed as like the woman thing, you know, like I would want her to be able to, she can lead any team.
What are the good Sue Storm stories? Because I've never hidden the fact that if there's anyone who I do not see it for, it's really the Fantastic Four.
Fair.
I've never really got the appeal. I know everyone says they're Marvel's first family, and everyone's like, oh, read this. And I read these books, and it's kind of like what you say with the Slott thing. I feel like it's just a lot of the same stuff. It gets a little boring and nothing happens. And so everyone's always like, oh, read the Hickman run because that's really good. And it's like, is it good?
Fantastic.
Because is it good because the Fantastic Four are interesting, or is it good because it's Hickman? So it's like,
I'd argue that it was
when
both in his run. It was
okay,
he made them interesting.
okay. So what would you say are the Fantastic Four stories that are interesting for Susan Storm?
Hmm. That is a great question. I would probably go back and I would recommend the Conway era Fantastic Four. Uh,
Okay.
my favorite Fantastic Four stories aren't the big cosmic ones. It's when that stuff is happening in the background, but the foreground is the family kind of interpersonal connections that they have with each other and that kind of
Okay.
drama. And
Naturally. The good
during
stuff.
the good stuff, the real meaty shit. So like when in the 70s, like they were actually really grounding the characters with a lot of like what normal people would kind of go through. They just and made the superpowers kind of ancillary to them. So during that time, I would say this is like issues Fantastic Four, probably 140. I would probably actually go back to like 137 through like 142, probably like
Okay.
that. And actually, no, I'd probably take it a little longer, probably from 137 to like 147. There's like a
Oh
really
wow.
cool, it's like a really cool arc there where you see the drama behind Reed and Sue's relationship, where
There always
I
seems to be a lot of drama there.
there's drama, but there's love. And in my opinion, I think we touched on this before. If you're going to make a relationship the biggest part of a character's story, then
Hmm.
show me the relationship. I would rather you
Okay.
just I want show me the whole interactions. I want to see like everything there if that's going to be the main parts of their story. So that's kind of why I would like with Gene and Scott, like
Yeah.
if they're gonna put the two of them kind of back together, I would rather them show why do they want to be back together and kind of what that means for all of them. Because
Yeah.
like we can all infer the cute little polyamory stuff, but like I would rather see the actual conversations that they have there. Uh,
Agreed.
and
I think that would be a big boost to that whole storyline and actually make me care about it. Because
yeah,
right now it just feels like it's just happening just so people can talk about it online.
exactly. And I felt like in the Fantastic Four, it's really easy to just bring up, Reed and Sue being in love or whatever, and like Sue
Hmm.
being the unhappy wife, and Reed as the cold scientist or whatever. But during
Yeah.
that little run there, you really see why they butt heads, and
Uh-huh.
it really is Sue checking Reed's ego.
Okay.
It's a lot of Sue being like, hey, I don't like the way you're handling this situation. And the run that I suggested in it is the time where Reed does take Franklin's powers away, and
Oh.
during that he starts to
Reed is not a
notice
nice man.
he is not the greatest father. No, he is not. No, he is not the greatest father. And during that run, Franklin's is starting to show like that he's got powers, and Sue is
Hmm.
like, I think my kid is like able to move these blocks with his mind, and I think he just changed some things over here. Like
Right.
he's developing his powers or whatever, and instead of embracing it, Reed would rather just fix it like it's a problem, and
Naturally.
or like it's a science test,
Project. Yeah.
a project. Yeah, like he would rather just kind of figure out how to fix it instead of bringing that fatherly empathy that he probably should bring towards his son. And during that, he
Hmm.
turns his powers off, and Reed and Sue had already been fighting a little
Yeah.
bit during this. Like they had already been kind of butting heads, and this is the first time you ever really see parents who are also superheroes.
Hmm.
What do they do with their kids? So during this fight that they're having, they get attacked at the Baxter building, and Reed, of course, wants Sue to take Franklin and run away and
Hmm.
and go be safe. And she's like, no, actually, I'm going to put a field around Franklin and I'm going to help fight with this fight. I'm not just some damsel or like some thing for you to boss around.
Right.
And that was to be honest, that fight was, I think, the thing that tipped her over. And she was like, hey, she ended up, leaving him during that time and didn't come home. Yeah, she left him during that, didn't come home. She really felt like, you looked at me not as your partner, but as the mother of your child. And she was like, I'm more than that. So I would definitely recommend that whole storyline there. She, ended up serving him with some divorce papers. It was things were things were getting rough for them. And it's not that I wanted to see their marriage crumble. I appreciated seeing the behind the scenes of it,
conflict,
the conflict there. And even if it wasn't a conflict to the extreme of divorce or whatever, and it was something else, I would rather just see those intimate moments rather than just being told, hey, they're together, or hey, they're broken up now,
Yeah, no, I can totally agree with that. I think that's fair when you have a relationship in comics. It's just like, why are these people together?
Exactly. And I think, and my other suggestion would be obviously the Hickman run. Sue was fantastic in that. She experienced some kind of loss within the book by Johnny Storm dying in it, and her reaction to it was so heartfelt because she was his mother. A part of her history is her dad is a surgeon, and he tried to operate on their mother and couldn't fix her. She died. He went a little nuts, ended up going to jail. He died. So Sue ended up becoming like the surrogate mother, basically. Yeah. So her reaction to losing her brother, who she raised, was really intense. And I really appreciated seeing how she felt during it. Obviously, Johnny came back,
as they always do.
They always do. It's comics. But I definitely recommend that Hickman era. It was, not only was it great for the Fantastic Four, it was great for Sue.
Okay. So that is 2 Fantastic Four runs to recommend.
Yes. Or also, though, I would also recommend the Byrne era. Probably mostly that entire run during the 80s. It was a little bit better, in my opinion, than the Conway run, because this is when they started to swap the Fantastic Four members. And actually, I've been reading it recently, and as part of my like back deep dive that I've been doing on Marvel Unlimited. And I've gotten to issues of She-Hulk being in it. And I know last week I talked about how like I don't know too much about her outside of the few appearances that I have seen her in. Yeah. And rereading these Fantastic Four books made me remember how like she's fun. She could be a lot. She could be a lot of fun.
She-Hulk is fun, and
she's a lot of fun.
I said it last week. The Byrne run, even the Slott run, I really appreciate them because, like you said, she's fun. Like it feels very slice of life, and it's like, here's this woman who has this job, and she just happens to turn into this green monster and like go on these galactic missions every now and again and do all this stuff. But she takes it with stride, and it's just like a really enjoyable time.
I do. I was enjoying her a lot, so I would definitely recommend that Byrne era in the 80s. Yeah, she also, that is a time when after the whole Psycho Man thing happens with her, and she is no longer Malice, she changes her name to Invisible Woman. And it was a whole moment of her accepting her darker emotions that it was during Malice, but realizing that, I may not be the same person who I am anymore, but I'm still strong. And she changed her name from Invisible Girl to the Invisible Woman. And it was this like moment of, I am a figure in this team. So I would definitely recommend that.
Okay. I'm here for it. I'm into it.
And Future, I would put her as leading a Defenders book or an A-Force book. I think that she should be more of a solo star, and she should be more of a solo character out and have some purpose outside of the Fantastic Four. She should be more like a working mom. And currently, like with the way Dan Slott is writing her, I feel like
She's
How
not.
can he? She's not. How there are so many examples currently of what it's like to be a mother uh, and run a business and like be
Yeah.
a working mom, from Beyonce
The,
to any kind of like celebrity mom, all these like empires that they have, and they're still able to be mothers. With these type of examples, you would think that he would be like, oh, okay, cool. I can kind of work with that and maybe use as inspiration for Sue, but no, we just get
we
the
need
same old
we
same
need
old.
the Real Housewives of Yancey Street.
I'd watch.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need.
I'd watch.
Okay, Miss Sue
So yeah,
Storm, the Invisible Woman.
Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman.
All right, okay, I'm into it.
Who you got?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
My relaunch character is Patsy Walker, the Hellcat.
All right, Hellcat.
Okay, so
you better take us to the streets.
Let me tell you. Okay, that's where I live. Oh, that doesn't sound good. So I recently read the new Iron Man book, strictly because Hellcat is in it. So Hellcat is like in the greater Marvel U. You know how I said She-Hulk is my number one. Hellcat's like number 3.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, she's up there. I really, really enjoy Patsy Walker. I think as a character, she is. The thing about Patsy is like she's always wanted to be a hero. Like she wants to help people. She just really enjoys it, and she's got this really upbeat, fun personality. But throughout a lot of the stories, you kind of realize that she's really sad and depressed about a lot of stuff. And that personality is kind of like a front. Like she stays happy to make sure that other people around her are happy. You know what I'm saying? And I can kind of relate to that. Being the shoulder for everybody, you have to be that positive when you can't let the people fall to the side. So it's like you got to do it. And she's got a long history in Marvel too, and I just think she's really fun. She started out in romance comics when Marvel was Timely. And for those who don't know, Timely Comics was basically the corporation that was it was a group of corporations who put out specific media, which eventually formed into Marvel Comics. And she had the romance there, and not all of the characters came through, but Patsy did, and she was basically like the Archie of the time.
Nice.
And
okay. I didn't know she was all the way created back there.
Yeah, like 1944. Miss America
wow, I didn't know that.
number 2. That's the
wow.
First issue. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
She get into
it. She goes there, and so she actually didn't show up as like Hellcat in the Avengers until like the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah, during the Steve Englehart run, she like guest starred in a couple of books. Fantastic Four, Defenders. I want to say no, Avengers. Excuse me. No, Defenders. She guest starred in.
She was in Defenders.
Defenders. Yeah. She became an Avenger because she was Beast's assistant, and she like just really liked heroes. She really liked helping people, so she would like accompany him on missions, and so then she ended up getting Tigra's old costume. And to like it enhanced her strength and stuff like that. She wore that, and like she was just like, oh no, I really like this. This is what I want to do. I want to be a hero. I want to help people. And I really relate to the whole aspect of just helping people. And so she becomes an Avenger. She joins the Defenders. She gets some training from Moondragon in martial arts and a little bit of psychic abilities. Yeah. But Moondragon eventually takes the psychic abilities away, but she kind of gets a semblance of them back. So she has her time as a hero. She ends up meeting Damian Hellstrom. They get married.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then life just kind of gets bad for her and bleak. We find out that her mom actually made a deal with Mephisto to like give him Patsy's soul to like help sell the books. Her mom's kind of like a horrible mom. Yeah.
Is she giving Kris Jenner, or is she like more of a terrible stage mom?
Terrible stage mom. I feel like Kris Jenner actually like kind of wants to help her daughters every now and again, whereas Patsy mom is like, I'm just here for myself. Yeah. And so she goes to this time, and though she actually eventually kills herself, which was like a very like controversial story, because again, like Hellcat is known for being this very positive character, but it's kind of like shows you that she's going through all this stuff. She's positive for other people, so she kills herself. She's actually trapped in hell, and it's actually when Hawkeye goes down there that he actually ends up freeing her from hell. She's like trapped in all these gladiator like battles in hell, and Mephisto tricks Hawkeye into thinking he's bringing Mockingbird back to life because Mockingbird was dead at the time, his ex-wife, and it's actually Patsy. Yeah, so Hawkeye wasn't that happy about that. I was. I thought it was I thought it was pretty fantastic. And so she's been in a couple of things. Since then, she was in a She-Hulk run, 2014. It was Charles Soule. And basically there, She-Hulk was starting up her own law firm, and Patsy was her investigator. Oh, cool. And yeah, it was just a really fun run. Like Patsy had a lot of good moments. Again, it was one of those times Patsy was just down on her luck. She was like, I want to be a hero. Like She-Hulk runs into her at a bar, and like Patsy's just getting drunk, and she's like, let's go punch some people. Like, okay, let's do it. Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, like it's cool, it's great. She's had a couple miniseries. Catherine Amon wrote one that was called. It was actually called Patsy Walker Hellcat. It came out in like 2008, I believe. And it was just really nice. So that was during the era when Patsy was. It was after the first Civil War. And like you had the registration and all that stuff like that. And Patsy was pro-registration. And so she actually got assigned to be the hero of Alaska. And so like the entire miniseries is basically like her protecting Alaska. And it's just like a fun little thing. And then she got another solo series not too long after that She-Hulk book, which was written by Kate Leth and artist Brittany Williams. And in that one, She-Hulk had fired Patsy because her law firm was going under. And damn. Yeah, you're right. And then Patsy actually ends up starting her own temp agency. Okay. For superpowered people.
Oh, so, that's cool.
Yeah, so
that's a cool concept.
Yeah, you know, she's kind of like, again, she wants to help people. She knows that these people with powers out here. She's kind of like gotten to this field where she's in a business and so all this stuff being at the law firm, and so she like goes out, and of course this is during the whole Inhuman rage and stuff like that, so like she's finding different Inhumans and other superpower people, bringing them in and then finding them jobs or like finding ways for them to help other people. She also deals with getting the rights back to her story. So what happens is the romance comics existed in the 40s. In Patsy's story, they're like actual stories in the Marvel universe that her mom put out there. And so one of her like rivals from high school has the rights to those stories. And so like Patsy's trying to get them back from her also, because she's like, she hates the books. She doesn't want them out there. Her mom exploited her. She's like, I don't want these out there. And so that went on. I want to say that lasted like 12 issues or so. It was very campy. Kate Leth, she made it a point that she said she wanted to kind of bring back the essence of those old romance comics and mix them with superheroes. So I know it wasn't to a lot of people's taste because it felt kind of young in some senses, even though a lot of the stuff that Patsy goes through is very adult. Like one of the things she deals with is She-Hulk being attacked by Thanos from Civil War II, actually. That story where Carol
it's some.
Oh my gosh, that was we should reread that one day.
We don't need to add that to the reading club list. Nope.
But you know, I think Patsy is just one of those characters. She does a lot of good things. She brings a lot of fun to stories. She brings a lot of heart to stories. I think the whole, again, concept of her heroism is that she just wants to help people. Like, point blank, period. I don't care about anything else. Honestly, if I was just like in a super suit building houses somewhere, she'd probably be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's something that I really appreciate for her character. So one of the other things about her is because of her time with Hellstrom and like being trapped in hell and things like that, she has kind of a connection to the supernatural. She can like sense magic and things like that. And so with all of that said, my relaunch is a new Hellcat book, and it would be Hellcat and the Howling Commandos.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. I'm listening now. Let's look it up.
Okay. So for those who don't know, the Howling Commandos was a team that, you know, ran around with Nick Fury back in the day. They've had a couple of different iterations in comics over time. Did he have some during his, what was the group he had with like Yo-Yo and Quake and all of them?
Was that the Secret Warriors,
Secret
maybe?
Warriors, yeah. He had like a version of them. They also had their own book where they kind of turned into like a supernatural team. They were working for Stake, which is basically a subdivision of Strike, focused solely on magic stuff. And
Oh, that's a
so,
cool. That's a cool name. I don't think I ever knew that existed.
yeah, it was a really interesting book. I honestly can't think of the writer right now, but I remember I read a couple of issues and it was pretty decent. It was very niche cast, very like D through Z list characters, Dum Dum Dugan, Man Thing, a Nick Fury LMD, some stuff like that. But basically, I would kind of take a little bit of that concept and mix it with Patsy, especially since she has that supernatural history. And in this book, they would kind of be like a supernatural investigative team. You know, you take a little bit of her time as an investigator with She-Hulk. You have, you know, her having this connection of all these other heroes as temp agents, like with her temp agency that she did, and she's moving to all these different worlds. Um, and because of the character that Patsy is, you kind of make the book like Nancy Drew meets Supernatural almost.
Okay. Okay.
So it's like you can still add that fun in there, but you still get the mystery, you still get the investigations, you still get like your monsters and your ghouls and weird crime. I think weird crime is such a really interesting concept. It was one that Warren Ellis kind of did during his Moon Knight run, where he just introduced these really cool concepts of like the villains. Like there was this one guy, it was like a fungus that was basically um making people see horrible visions and things like that.
Oh wow.
And but it was like coming from this guy's dead body. Like he had powers and then he died and his body was like decaying. And so like that was the result of it. And so it's like stuff like that.
That's interesting.
Punching ghosts and things like that. And so you kind of put Hellcat into that realm, especially since she has the history, Hellstrom, Mephisto, her own experiences. And it's like Ghostbusters kind of thing, you know? And I think she would work really well in there because again, she has some leadership potential. When she was running that temp agency, she ran it, she put people in places. I think it's interesting to put her with characters who you don't normally see her with. I would like, oh, one of the characters who I put on that book is Ares. Ares would come back for that.
Really? Okay.
I love Ares.
Okay. Of course you do.
Of course I do. You know, it's just like, you know, Ares. He is the one there for me. He needs to come back. Also, really quick, during the Dark Reign era, Kieran Gillen wrote an Ares miniseries. Pick it up. It's only 3 issues. Fantastic. Immaculate.
I remember when all I remember from that was that era was him ripping Sentry in half. No, I'm sorry, Sentry ripping him in half.
Yeah. That was not fun.
That was that's all I remember about Ares was getting ripped in half by Sentry.
Yeah, that was not a fun time. And I don't think he's been back since.
Nope.
Wow.
Sentry said goodbye. That would be cool to bring him back in that way with like the occult probably and like the Howling Commandos.
Yeah.
Would you keep that same Howling Commando team or would you just?
I would probably keep a couple of people. Like I think Man Thing's pretty cool, so I keep him on the team. I think I'd mix it up, put maybe like some slightly more popular characters on there. I think there's a lot that have been, you know, even pulled from some of like the Defenders that have existed. Because again, like that ties into kind of Patsy's time as a Defender. And again, she is one that just has a lot of reach in the Marvel universe. She's a Marvel diva. Shout out to the Marvel Divas, Sex and the City, the Marvel Girls. That was Patsy Walker, Monica Rambeau, Felicia, Black Cat, and Firestar. And they had like a really good time there. And again, in that book, we even had some stuff where Patsy dealt with Hellstrom and the occult because he was mad. She had just put out a book about her life and he didn't like what she wrote about him. Or I'm sorry, that he wasn't in the book, actually.
I hate it.
So he was like harassing her and he was just like, and she's just like, you're doing all this to me. She's like, you're not even in the book. And he just kind of looks at her and he's like, yeah, I know, that's the problem. And she's like, oh my God, seriously?
Wow.
And so I'm a street level guy. I love when some supernatural magic type stuff can get worked into a story for like an urban fantasy type of setting. I think a lot of stories do it well. And I think it's a avenue that Patsy would be really good in. She brings the fun, to the horror.
All right. I like
And then you got
that.
some
I think
other,
that'll be interesting.
you know, I think it's, and I think the Howling Commandos is just a really cool concept. What it has evolved from what it originally was, I think it's like super cool. And I wish it was one of those things that Marvel like really kind of pushed back out there a lot more.
Wow. Patsy Walker Hellcat.
And the
All
Howling
right.
Commandos.
And the Howling Commandos. I'm into it. You definitely just taught me something. You know, I don't normally get down there in the streets, but
You got to come down. It's fun.
I might have to.
It's just like we got some winners over here. Okay?
I might have to. You keep winning down there, so I might have to. I might have to ditch the flight and just come on down.
Just come on down. I mean, you can fly in the street too.
That's fair, yeah. That's fair. I might have to, you know, trade the powers in for martial arts and a sword, because
right. It's you know, I mean, the powers are cool too. I think my thing with the powers is that it can get a little too big sometimes.
Yeah, that's when I usually clock out if it gets to be too big.
And I think that's my thing with you and powers. You're very power with a cap.
Yep, those are my favorite kinds.
It's like you don't want God killers and world destroyers. You want like, I'm powerful, like I can lift, I'm super strong, but only 50 tons.
Yes. Like I love Carol, and as powerful as they try to make her out to be in the MCU, in the comics, like her base, they have a standard for her. Like, hey, she can only lift like 74 tons, and then like when she's in binary, that like doubles or whatever. Like that makes sense to me. But when you start throwing like suns at each other and and breaking worlds and stuff, I can't do all of that.
It's just like, what's the point? It's like, why are you? And you know, speaking of Marvel divas and that little group, Monica Rambeau, Spectrum, is a character I think kind of falls into that problem sometimes too. I feel like she's been depowered recently, but I especially remember during like that whole kind of like Secret Wars era, right before all of that stuff, she was in a lot of books. Ultimates, Al Ewing, shout out to that, you know, and it's just Monica. Like she's super strong. I'll never forget during Civil War II, there was a tie-in during the Ultimates, and like Spectrum said something about how she should have turned into light and like went through Thanos's retina. And it's just like, why are you that strong? Why are you that powerful?
What?
It's just like, it's like go through his retina and like go through his brain and kill. It's just like, why? Like, why is anybody else here?
Yeah, if you can do all of that, then what's the point?
You can do all, like, why are we here? So I get it. I get wanting powerful, but like, you definitely need a cat.
Yeah, maybe I need to just go ahead and come on down to the streets, because that Patsy Walker book sounds great.
Thank you. I it's been on my mind pretty heavy for a while, especially after I read that Iron Man book, and like Patsy hasn't been in a book in a while, and like seeing her character again, like the fun, the maturity of it, like kind of knowing where she is, and like she's in a spot right now where she's helping Iron Man, of course, kind of come to terms with where he is again in life, and like just his
Relaunch book, right?
This is his relaunch book. If you're a fan of Iron Man, I would say pick it up. I read the first issue. I'm not huge on like technological characters like that. So I read the issue, and it's very much a back to basics approach to Iron Man. I think I said that already. So I don't know if that's what people want from him.
I am not the biggest Iron Man fan, so you're asking the wrong bitch.
Patsy's great in the book, though, and like she's featured prominently in it, and so I really enjoyed the way the writer wrote her. So I would actually probably keep them on for that Howling Commandos book.
Okay, so I guess that brings us to the end of the show.
That does.
I hope you guys enjoyed. You can reach us at Another Relaunch on Twitter, also at anotherrelaunch@gmail.com if you want to send us any kind of feedback, questions, concerns.
And shout out to everyone for listening to episode 1 and like the love that we got on that. That was like super overwhelming and nice.
That was really dope. I love that. That was really, was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, you know, again, like LZ and I we've been doing this for a while, where he and I just like call each other and talk about comic books, and sharing that with other people and like having that reaction is great.
It's dope. I hope you guys are loving this as much as we are doing
again,
this. So.
You might hear us a lot of times say like, I don't like this, or we don't know about characters, but it's like we actually loved it.
Yeah, we love all of it. So yeah, and you can reach me at Uncanny LZ on most social media platforms. Where can they find you, Keenan?
You can find me on Twitter at Keenan Lance with an underscore at the end. You can find me on IG at $1 Million Madman.
Yes, I still love that.
And I think those are my only social media accounts. I don't have a Tumblr anymore. I deleted that.
R.I.P.
They got rid of the porn, and so everybody kind of ran.
Everybody bounced. So yeah, guys. Thanks so much, y'all, for listening, and see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye.
Peace.